Generalität ist das Geschmolz des deutschen Volkes. Sie ist ohne Ehre!
Let me ask you a question. Do you think dictatorship is a good thing or a bad thing? Most people hear the word and immediately go, come on. Dictatorship sounds bad no matter how you spin it. But let's add a condition. What if a dictator is actually doing things that are good for the country and good for the people? Is dictatorship still automatically evil? At the end of the day, democracy or dictatorship is just a tool of rule. The real question is simple. What does it actually achieve for the country? Take Roosevelt, who we've been talking about for several episodes now. In reality, Roosevelt was a de facto dictator of the United States. In terms of how power worked, Roosevelt's America wasn't fundamentally different from Nazi Germany under Hitler, South Korea under Chang Tu-Wan, or the Soviet Union under Stalin. Boiled down to one sentence: visible military boots stomped on the invisible hand of the market. That's exactly why, even today, Roosevelt remains one of the most controversial figures in the US with no real opposition left. Roosevelt pushed reforms at light speed. During this period, he submitted 15 major bills to Congress, and every single one passed, including the National Labor Relations Act and the Fair Labor Standards Act. He established a modern labor system. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Anything over that, mandatory 1.5x overtime, pay on top of that. Roosevelt massively expanded labor unions and completely reshaped them. Before this, unions were often controlled by the mafia, basically tools to manage workers. Roosevelt's response was simple. You've got how many people? I've got an army. Workers couldn't even afford food anymore, and you're still squeezing them. You want to challenge me, replace those mob-backed leaders. Switch unions to free elections. If you don't, I'll deal with you in 3 days. The mafia was stunned. That's our line. But under pressure, they complied. And once unions actually elected people who spoke for workers, bargaining power shot up. Unions also became powerful political mobilizers. And here's the key point. Ordinary people actually benefited. That's when fear kicked in. The US president serves 4-year terms. Sure, Roosevelt protects the working class while he's around. But what happens when he leaves? Once he's gone, won't the same elites climb right back on people's heads? So a lot of working class Americans genuinely hoped Roosevelt would stay in power indefinitely. Some even supported family rule. Pass it to your son, we don't care. Because to them, ideology didn't matter. Democracy or dictatorship didn't matter. Can I eat tomorrow? That's what mattered. Of course, Roosevelt's New Deal made capitalists absolutely miserable. They didn't want him to stay, but they couldn't fight him. He had the army. So what did they do? They attacked him through movies, novels, and art. This genuinely confused Roosevelt. I bled myself dry for this country, he thought. The economy is crawling out of the sewer, and now the rich are attacking me. Fine, hate me if you want, but you're spreading propaganda, manipulating public opinion, and on top of that, dumping dollars and buying gold, then shipping that gold overseas. America made you rich. Now the country's in trouble, and you're not helping, you're pulling the bricks out of the wall. So yeah, capital has no homeland, and this crossed the line. America's biggest problem at the time was overcapacity and lack of money. And now the rich were exporting gold under the gold standard. That wasn't just capitalism anymore, that was sabotage. So Roosevelt hit back hard. Congress passed the Emergency Banking Act. Gold exports were banned. All Americans and businesses were required to hand their gold to the Federal Reserve in exchange for a paper money disobey. Property confiscation, up to 10 years in prison. The rich were stunned. This is capitalism. This looks like something Stalin would do. But resistance was pointless. Roosevelt controlled the White House, Congress, and the army. The opposition party didn't dare object. The wealthy surrendered their gold and took dollars instead. They thought the nightmare was over. It wasn't. Roosevelt then issued $3 billion in currency backed by government securities and abandoned the gold standard. Result: the dollar lost over 40% of its value. At this point, the rich completely lost it. Earlier I asked a hypothetical question. When a country is about to explode, there are only two choices. Either the rich share their wealth with the poor, or the poor die. That wasn't theory anymore. Roosevelt made his choice: share the wealth or die. Through inflation, debt relief, and currency devaluation, the rich paid the price. In economic terms, it worked like this. Money supply increased, debts became easier to repay, and wealth stored in loans and fixed assets evaporated. It was redistribution without calling it redistribution. The rich screamed, "You're robbing us." Roosevelt replied, "You lent out $10,000, they paid back $10,000. What's the problem? Why are you barking?" After loans cleared, the economy could move again, but there was another issue. As the dollar fell, everyone wanted gold. So Roosevelt nationalized gold entirely and banned private ownership. The message was clear: you made money here when times were good, Now the country is in trouble. It's your turn to pay. Under Roosevelt, America's wealthy class saw their fixed assets shrink by over 70%. Former elites were flattened into ordinary citizens. They called Roosevelt a communist, a traitor to his class. And with what little money they had left, they poured it into radio stations and Hollywood to attack the New Deal. Roosevelt responded in 1934 with the Communications Act. Attack the government. Your broadcast license is gone. As for newspapers, laws already existed. Attack the government, the Constitution, the military, or the flag. Federal prosecution, okay? Some people asked, can we just attack Roosevelt personally? Number at that point. Roosevelt was the state. Attack him, and you were attacking the government. So newspapers had one word left to print, loyalty. And that's how Roosevelt dealt with them. But Roosevelt wasn't done. In 1934, he created the Securities and Exchange Commission, tasked with regulating Wall Street. And to calm people down, he repealed prohibition. Drink if you're unhappy, but if you take to the streets, check how fast my guns fire. What happens next? That's for the next episode. Hi, I'm Leon. I'm about to hit 10,000 followers. If you like my content, please give me a follow so you can see my updates first. Catch you in the next video.